Okay, so hey guys, welcome to my podcast. This is the first episode of my new podcast called Head versus Heart. As you can see, I've got a little cozy setup because I just want to be comfortable and just say stuff straight from the heart, that's authentic, unfiltered, and it's just, my stream of consciousness. And if you find value in it, that's great. If you don't, then yeah, you don't have to listen to it. But if you do find value in it, then yeah, I really would appreciate that because again, I can only talk from my experience. So yeah. Um yeah, so if you're watching this on video, I've got my teddy, I've got my PJs, all cozy. I've got this little plush toy Bambi, I've got my meditation beads, and I've got this really nice candle that I bought recently. So yeah, all like good homey vibes. And what else did I want to say actually? Like, I'm so brain dead. Jess, this is a podcast. Okay. Oh, okay. What I wanted to say is that with the Head versus Heart name, basically what it is about is the ever ongoing dilemma of balancing your logic and your intuition, balancing, what your heart wants versus what your head wants. And yeah, coming to terms with the fact that sometimes when you make a decision, it can be really difficult if you have the two opposing viewpoints, right? Um, First of all, let me just talk about like the main theme of my whole podcast, which is oh my god, I'm kind of nervous, I'm just like making this up. Um, so the whole point of this podcast is basically to facilitate you and to share my experiences of me becoming my authentic self more and more each day as the years go by, through self-development, and ultimately to the ultimate goal of self-actualization, where I become my full authentic self. I actualize my talents. I really step into the power of who I really am, which I think for a lot of us, and I'm speaking for myself mainly when I talk about this, but for me, I've literally been so conditioned and to even realize that I have talents that are just completely different to what I was, pushed in as a kid. It is just like a really whole new way of living for me. And that's really what like the Head versus Heart podcast is about. It's about finding yourself again, finding that heart, finding that intuition that you had that was so buried in the logic. Because, a lot of us were conditioned to follow logic, and I followed that for a long ass time. Chase money, wasn't happy, this and this, tried to be the perfect daughter for my parents, and that never will fulfill you because you're always doing something for someone else. And that was logic. And it's taken me so long, and I've been through so much to get to the point where I am now, to find my passion for MMA. And that really comes from a place from my heart, and I love it so much, and I really feel like I'm self-actualizing when I'm doing MMA, and that's how I know that it's right. Like in my heart, I know it's right. And yeah, so this podcast is basically going to talk about topics related to what I just said. So, about being authentic, how to find your voice, undoing conditionings, how to navigate your own inner voice in this world of like noise. Like there's a quote by Steve Jobs, and he's like, don't let other people's noise drown out your inner voice, because a lot of the time people will say stuff to you, and some of it can be valid, but a lot of the time it's just noise, and it's not really helpful, or it's just what they're projecting onto you. And you have to be careful, because if you don't have your own inner voice, if you don't have your own foundation, you will collapse, and then you will just be forever lost. And it's kind of sad to think that like so many people are lost out there. It's like, when I think there's a story, well, this is actually a true story, of like elephants when they get tamed when they're younger. I'm not gonna necessarily recount this accurately, so search this up if you want to know the more correct details. But the whole point is that elephants, they get tied up when they're younger so they don't move. and they become restricted so that the owners can control them better. And then when they're adults, they get tied for the same reason. But when they're adults, they're so much bigger, they're so strong, like they're massive, and the strings are so um, fragile compared to their strength. So they actually have the strength to break free from those like chains, those strings or whatever. But because mentally they've been entrapped for so long that they think they can't break out of that. Hopefully that makes sense to some of you. If not, let me just try and rephrase it, which is a lot of us, we're living in a prison with the door open, but we're not stepping out because we're mentally conditioned to like not believe in ourselves, not believe in our worth, not believe we have talents, not believe we can be creative. Like as a kid, like, oh, you have these talents, this and this, but you're told, not to focus on that because you should focus on money, you should focus on this and this instead. You're not encouraged to do what you wanted to do. And it's just really disheartening because I feel like, or for me anyway, I reached the pinnacle. um reached the pinnacle of that, of suppressing my desires and my talents and my spirit, because I felt so unhappy when I followed my logic. And I literally hit a point where I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, so unhappy. And when you reach depression, you're just like, what is the point of life? um and also feel like people that are lost right now, if they're still lost, the pain is not enough for them to change. As in, like, they're not experiencing enough pain. Because for me to change, I had to experience so much pain, and I really hated it, to the point where I actually was brave enough to step into an MMA gym. Um, and that is also why it's good to feel things. Like, if you feel pain, like, the stronger you feel pain, the quicker you can face your pain, the quicker you can move on and grow, right? Because a lot of people, they'll be lost their whole life and they'll distract themselves with things, and then they won't fully experience the extent of the amount of pain that they actually um, are going through. Like, this lockdown, I'm sure, like, has brought a lot of things to people's attention, especially with me as well. Like it's more about the psychological childhood traumas and stuff for me. But I'll get into that into another episode, because that'll be diverting topic. Yeah. So yeah, like, a lot of people distract themselves from the pain, but you will actually do yourself a favor to just experience the pain really intensely right now. Experience that. Like, if you're still in lockdown and, like, you don't have a job, maybe redundant, whatever, just experience the pain and the loss of what you're feeling right now. Honor those feelings, because your emotions are compass, their map, their roadmap. Because it's telling you something, you're unhappy with something, and by understanding your emotions, understanding what you're unhappy with, you can actually choose your road to happiness. Because I feel like a lot of us, we live with this, just this level of discontentment. It's like, I call this, I guess, what is it called? It's like it's settling. So you're not completely happy, but you're not completely unhappy. You're like, oh, you know what? Like, I've got a job. I should just be happy with it. I should be grateful. I'm not starving. I should be grateful. Or, I get to use my uni degree. I should just be happy. And it's this, the level of pain is just simmering. Like, you're just riding it. You're just above it. Like, you just manage to get by, but you're unhappy, but you're not letting yourself, like, fall completely and experience the deep amount of pain, because that is really scary to do that, to really admit to yourself, oh shit, like, everything, like, I worked up ugh. Everything I worked for my whole life is just like a lie, or it's just completely different to what I thought it was going to be. And you're like, damn, like, I don't want to feel lost. But then if I continue this day-to-day life, it's not like I feel any better. Like, it's a catch-22. Like, you feel lost either way. And honestly, you think that, like, you're avoiding pain by um postponing facing yourself, but really you're just procrastinating on a decision, and that's actually just hurting you in the long run. Like, would you rather, so let's say you have an illness. Would you rather have, okay, there's a pill that's like super intense, like it hurts so much, like you'll be hurting for like a month straight every single day? Or would you rather take the pill that just numbs the pain, numbs all your feelings, and numbs it for the like next 30 years? Numbs it. But with the first pill, you have extreme amount of pain for a month, but then afterwards, you're happy for the rest of your life. Yeah. Um, I mean, there's no guarantee for happiness, but I'm just saying that as an extreme example. And I think if I put it like that, a lot of you can relate to the first one. Sorry, a lot of you will pick the first one. I would anyway, and that's literally that's literally my life. Um, like I feel pain so deeply, and yeah, it's rough because you have to be honest with yourself. You have to face yourself, but at the same time, it's rewarding when you really do like transmute that pain into something positive. Because here's the thing, like if you chose option A and you feel that deep pain, you're at a place in your life where you're like in so much pain, that's actually a trigger for you to find your passion, find your bliss. um and transmuting that into positivity is like so beautiful, because you have to remember, like, we can't avoid pain. Like, pain is inevitable. That, like, the human condition is pain. like if you look at Shakespeare, like how he just wrote all of his plays and why they resonate with us even now to this day, is like he describes the human condition, the existentialism of life. And the thing is, if you are going to experience pain, why not actually experience it in a way that's positive, or experience it in a way that's authentic, and experience it in a way that's actually true to yourself, and experience it in a way that makes you happy, or experience it in a way that you're not choosing to suffer by delaying becoming who you really are. Because if you choose the second option of just taking the pain like for 30 years, the thing is, I'm saying this, and like, if you guys resonate with this, I'm really glad. If you don't, then that would just be my experiences don't relate to yours, or even B, like, perhaps like the way I'm delivering this is not really resonate with you. But all I want to say is this: is like, deep down, you know what you need to do. Deep down who you are. You're just scared. You're just scared, and I can resonate with that because martial arts, right? I was so scared to do it. I was so scared to join the gym, and I was never encouraged. Like, if I did I did Krav Maga for a month, and I actually did end up kneeing a guy in the balls when he attacked me at work. It was like a play fight, but anyways, I digress. So I did that, and it's just like comments from parents saying, "Oh, why are you going out training at 7, like with guys? That's dangerous." Like, all those comments, and that just, all I'm saying is the influence around you, of not encouraging you to be who you really are. And you know what the dangerous thing is? You internalize those things. If you literally said to me, Jess, "Oh, I used to love to paint, but you know what? Um, I don't paint because it's pointless. It doesn't give you any money." You know what you've done? You've internalized your parents' voice, or the people around you. You've internalized their voice that wasn't your own, and then now you're hindering yourself. And isn't that like ironic? Or I think it's really sad. The fact is, like, we all are like bright lights. We have this youthful spirit within us, but you know, because of external noise, and because when you're young, um, you don't necessarily know what's best for you. So then you just listen to other people, and if you're from a strict upbringing like me, then you really get like shouted at, and kind of conditioned to conform. Like, that is the whole thing: conditioned to conform, to be a good daughter, to be a good citizen, or to be a good worker. Like, it's all of this that I choose not to follow, because you have your own life path. You're here to self-actualize, to fulfill your talents, and to contribute to the world with your unique gifts.